M&A activity, really, we've talked about it. I know Kaylee and Michael just talked about it. Kevin, I guess you're back now? You there?
I am.
Awesome. Well, just kind of introing what we were going to talk about M&A activity during the first half. We saw a lot of big deals that happened throughout the first half of the year. Really kind of goes with how the market was.
Yeah, it does. I think we had 42, 43 M&A deals that were significant, and I gathered kind of like 5 or 6 of probably the biggest deals, and I tried not to make it very heavy on June, but June was just we had 12 deals in June. It looked like everything was heating up. We had a good February and good June. Excuse me, and then the rest of the months were kind of average, nondescript. But June was a really big month, and one of the first ones was DB Schenker acquires USA Truck for $435 million. $31 and change, I believe, on the share price, which was, if my memory serves me correctly, 118% premium from the day before closing price, which is a big deal, big premium, and it gives a German freight forwarder a foothold into the American domestic trucking market.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge deal, and it was like the way we talked about it, right? At 117% premium compared to the day before, it seemed really expensive, but it was a way to buy a lot of assets, buy the customer base here in the U.S. You're buying the real estate that goes along with it. So, I mean, you had some of this play that maybe that price wasn't so overblown that what maybe Wall Street was undervaluing USA Truck, but it also seems expensive on the other end still. I mean, it seems like a lot of money.
It does, and if we make a case for why it was in line, it was a well-valued deal, would be that there's not a lot of trucking companies out there that you can buy and get this exposure. I mean, you're talking about USA Truck, which is focused on the spot market. Most carriers of size are more into the contract or dedicated markets. But if you find a carrier with that many assets whose main focus is that they do a lot of spot loads, more spot loads than any other mega carrier out there, then what you're going to find is assets that can move your own freight, and you can control, kind of vertically integrate the transportation side once you get into the continental U.S.
Yeah, and kudos to that management team for getting that done. I mean, it was a big deal and really quite a turnaround at USA Truck, right? I mean, you kind of, if you saw where their stock price was, it's been on the upswing. Oh. So, I mean, it's definitely been a turnaround story.
Yeah, in 2019, I think the new management came in around 2018, 2017, right? James Reed and company. But 2019, here, March, April of 2019, it was just over $3 a share. So they sold for just over $30 a share. So that's quite a ROI for the shareholders of USA Truck. So yeah, it's very complimentary. It's a great deal for the management team.
Yeah, and moving on to the other big deal. I mean, you look at Prologis buying Duke Realty for like $25.6 billion. I mean, that's a massive deal that got announced in June as well. I mean, you look at that, it's one of the largest logistics REITs buying another one of the largest logistics REIT. These warehousing, it kind of just shows that warehousing space is at a premium, and Prologis is willing to pay a hefty dollar amount to build out their footprint without having to physically go build their footprint.
Yeah, we're talking about hot markets. Trucking was a hot market, but warehousing maybe the hottest market of us all. I mean, Prologis, I think their latest counting was 98% or almost 98% of warehousing space is occupied right now. We'll see if that goes down over the second half and into 2023. But yeah, everyone's trying to get their hands on warehousing space, and not just space, but space at the right location. and demographics have been changing since the pandemic. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, mega deal, $25.6 billion.
Yeah, and I think, well, we've got about a minute and some change left, but really looking at the back half of 2022, we've seen the market really slow down in terms of the freight market and the overall equities market and things like that. Do you think with that slowdown, it becomes more of a buyer's market? I mean, do you think there will be people trying to get out of, make exits, sell, where buyers may be able to find deals, whether it's the back half of 2022 or early 2023?
It'll be interesting. The back half of 2022 will be interesting on the deals. I think it is a buyer's market at this point. Valuations have come down. I would think that there might be a few freight tech deals, and whether those are good news or bad news for investors, I'm not sure. Because right now valuations are being hit, and then the VC world and certainly any SaaS businesses, have seen lower valuations. So that's something to look out for too. But it'll be very interesting to see kind of if there's any activity. We've had a little bit in July, so I'm optimistic about that.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I think we're getting to, at least on the freight tech side, you're getting to some of these maturities where they're going to have to start making exits, and we may start seeing them pop up throughout the back half. Well, thank you, Kevin, for joining me on this week's Research Corner. Right now, we'll take a quick break. Be back with more FreightWaves Now.